The menorah is ready. All of the golden pieces are ready. The third temple is ready.
That very soon we will all see the building of the third temple in Jerusalem.
They're also planning to slaughter 5 red cows. That paves the way for the building of the third temple.
There are discussions about an event involving 5 specially chosen red cows, an act believed to be of great significance in preparation for a long-anticipated structure in Jerusalem. Many believe that this moment is tied to ancient prophecies, and soon a remarkable transformation might unfold in the Holy City. For centuries, predictions have spoken of a profound event, the awaited return of Jesus Christ. However, what is happening now in Jerusalem has captured global attention. A rare and significant ceremony is taking place, one that has not been seen in modern times. This has left many asking, could we be witnessing signs that indicate a momentous event is closer than ever? But what if I told you this isn't just a long-standing belief? It might be part of something much bigger, a sequence of events leading to a profound revelation. Welcome to Messenger of Jesus, where we explore mysteries, signs, and truths connected to biblical prophecy. Stay with us as we uncover astonishing developments happening right now in the heart of Jerusalem, events that could have deeper implications than we ever imagined. Many believe that something extraordinary is on the horizon, and as we examine the details, we begin to see how these unfolding moments align with ancient teachings. The significance of these events is profound, and those who study biblical history have long awaited such signs. According to sacred traditions, one particular sign has been described as a key moment that must take place before a great transformation occurs. This belief is connected to the appearance of a unique red calf. The origins of this prophecy are found in the ancient scriptures, specifically in Numbers 19:2, which states, "This is the ordinance of the law which the Lord has commanded, saying, Speak to the children of Israel that they bring you a red calf without blemish, in which there is no defect, and on which a yoke has never come." The question that arises today is whether such a calf has indeed been discovered. If so, could this be an indication that preparations for a significant event in Jerusalem are progressing? If this is truly the final step before prophecy unfolds, then what follows may be inevitable. The prophecy of the red calf is one of the most intriguing and lesser-known aspects of biblical teachings. According to Numbers 19, the ashes from such an offering were required in ancient times for a purification ritual of great significance. This ritual played a crucial role in the spiritual life of the people and was believed to be an essential part of preparation for sacred practices. The calf had to be entirely red, without a single non-red hair, and once the offering was made, its ashes were used for purification. This process was seen as vital for sanctifying holy spaces, which is why some believe its role is still relevant today. As we examine the deeper meanings of this prophecy, an astonishing realization emerges, one that few have considered. The ashes of the red calf were not just a part of an ancient tradition. They were a required element for the purification process that, according to some interpretations, is necessary for the preparation of an important structure in Jerusalem. The significance of this cannot be overstated, as certain biblical passages suggest that such events must take place before other prophesied moments unfold. Ezekiel 36:25 states, "Then I will sprinkle clean water on you, and you shall be clean. I will cleanse you from all your filthiness and from all your idols." This verse is often linked to the purification rituals described in ancient texts, reinforcing the idea that cleansing and sanctification are necessary steps in divine plans. Beyond its role in purification, the red calf is also considered by many to be a powerful sign, one that could be directly connected to prophecies about future events. in 2022, something truly remarkable occurred. 5 red calves, meeting the traditional description, were transported to Israel from the United States. These animals were carefully examined and found to be flawless, something that had not been documented in over 2,000 years. The rarity of this event raises questions. Why has this only happened now? Could there be a deeper significance behind this timing? An organization dedicated to preparing for significant religious events has confirmed their presence. This raises an urgent question. Are ancient expectations unfolding just as anticipated, or are there unforeseen challenges preventing further progress? Some believe that biblical writings suggest that certain events must take place before others follow. This idea aligns with interpretations of Daniel's writings, which describe a future time when an important structure will exist once more. Daniel, a young Hebrew captive taken from Jerusalem during the rise of the Babylonian Empire, possessed an extraordinary ability, the gift of interpreting dreams and visions. His insights were not only pivotal in his time, but are also considered by many to hold clues about events yet to come. His writings provide a timeline of prophetic history, offering a structured sequence of events that some believe are still unfolding today. Daniel 9:24-27 presents a fascinating message. The angel Gabriel explains that 70 weeks have been determined for God's people. These are not standard weeks, but symbolic representations of years, with each week equating to 7 years. This means the full period spans 490 years, divided into 3 critical phases. The first 7 weeks, 49 years. The time it took to rebuild Jerusalem after the Babylonian exile. The next 62 weeks, 434 years. The period leading up to the arrival of the Messiah. The final week, 7 years. A time associated with great transformation, often linked to end-time prophecies. What makes this prophecy particularly striking is the belief that we are currently in the period between the 69th and 70th week. If this interpretation is accurate, it suggests that we are standing on the threshold of a significant moment in history. Some believe that events unfolding today could be pieces of a much larger picture, one that has been foretold for generations. As we continue to explore these mysteries, we invite you to stay with us. The signs, the scriptures, and the unfolding events all seem to point towards something profound. Could we be witnessing the very moments that were described in ancient texts? And if so, what comes next? The final 7 years, often referred to as a time of great upheaval, have not yet begun, but many believe that the signs pointing to their arrival are becoming increasingly clear. This prophetic timeline is believed to have started in 457 BC, when the Persian king Artaxerxes issued a decree to restore and rebuild Jerusalem. According to this framework, 483 years, or 69 prophetic weeks, were to pass before the arrival of the Messiah. When calculating from 457 BC and moving forward 483 years, we arrive at approximately 27 AD, aligning with the time when Jesus began his ministry. The precision of this timeline is truly remarkable, showcasing an alignment that has captivated scholars and believers alike. However, something unexpected happened. The prophetic timeline appeared to pause after Jesus was crucified and resurrected. This pause, now spanning nearly 2,000 years, is known as the Church Age, a period during which the message of salvation has been extended to all nations. Yet, despite this interval, the final prophetic period, the last 7 years, remains ahead. When this period begins, it will bring about a time of immense global significance, marking a phase often described as one of the most challenging in human history. This last 7-year span, frequently referenced in biblical studies, is believed to be a time of unprecedented trials and events that many interpretations suggest will shape the course of the world. Daniel 9:27 states, "Then he shall confirm a covenant with many for 1 week. But in the middle of the week he shall bring an end to sacrifice and offering. And on the wing of abominations shall be one who makes desolate, even until the consummation which is determined is poured out on the desolate." This passage describes a leader who will establish an agreement for 7 years, but will break it halfway through, leading to significant consequences. Many scholars have examined this passage and believe it refers to the emergence of a powerful figure who will initially appear as a peacemaker, but will later reveal a different nature. This final period is believed to bring significant events that will impact the world, particularly focusing on Jerusalem and its people. Some interpretations suggest that while many will witness the beginning of these developments, others believe that certain groups may be spared from experiencing the full extent of this time. As global events continue to unfold, some wonder if the pieces of this prophetic puzzle are falling into place. The return of the red calf, preparations for significant religious developments in Jerusalem, and ongoing global tensions have led many to reflect on whether the prophetic clock is once again moving forward. Could the discovery of the red calf be a crucial sign? Are we on the brink of a major historical shift? If so, what happens next is not something determined by human intervention, but by a sequence of events long foretold. The importance of preparation, whether through faith, prayer, or seeking a deeper understanding of biblical teachings, is something many consider essential in times of uncertainty. The fulfillment of prophecy is not a matter of speculation for those who believe in its message. It is a question of timing. For those who study these prophecies, a particular focus remains on Jerusalem and its people. Some interpretations suggest that historical events, including times when key figures were not recognized, have led to pauses in prophetic fulfillment. According to biblical writings, the timeline has yet to reach its full completion, but during this waiting period, many believe that grace has been extended beyond its original scope. This has allowed countless individuals to embrace faith and become part of a greater spiritual plan. When the final phase arrives, it is believed that a global shift will take place. A leader will emerge, one who will gain trust and present himself as a figure of stability. However, midway through this significant 7-year period, the true nature of events will become clear. Many interpretations describe this moment as one of great realization and transformation, as the initial sense of peace gives way to a much different reality. This ruler, often discussed in biblical texts, has been referenced in various scriptures. Passages in Revelation refer to this period as lasting for a specific duration, 42 months or 1,260 days, marked by significant global events. The descriptions align with past references to times of great struggle and trials, suggesting a period of profound hardship. However, despite the intensity of these years, it is believed that divine intervention will ultimately bring redemption and restoration. While the challenges of this period are emphasized, so too is the promise of hope. Many interpretations highlight that through immense difficulty, a path to renewal and salvation will emerge. The conclusion of this time will not be one of destruction, but of restoration, as faith is reaffirmed and a new era begins. Some biblical texts describe this as a moment of ultimate realization when long-awaited promises are fulfilled. The Apostle Paul references this period in 2 Thessalonians 2:4, describing a leader who will claim authority in an unprecedented way. This event, sometimes referred to as the abomination of desolation, is considered a pivotal moment within this prophetic framework. It is believed that during this time, significant changes will occur and new structures of power will be established. Revelation 11 provides additional details, mentioning a period during which key locations will be affected. The reference to specific time frames, 1,260 days and 42 months, aligns with interpretations of a structured unfolding of events. This period is often discussed as one of great challenges, but also of divine oversight, ensuring that no event occurs outside of a greater plan. Throughout biblical history, references to a period of great trial have appeared under various names. Deuteronomy 4 refers to it as a time of tribulation in the latter days, Daniel 12 as a time of great distress, and Jeremiah 30 as the time of Jacob's trouble. Zephaniah describes it as a time of deep challenge, emphasizing both its severity and the need for perseverance. Despite the intensity of these descriptions, hope remains a central theme. This period is not without purpose, but is believed to serve as a path to ultimate redemption. Jesus himself spoke of this time in Mark 13:19-20, stating, "Those will be days of distress unequaled from the beginning, when God created the world, until now, and never to be equaled again. If the Lord had not cut short those days, no one would survive." This passage underscores the significance of the time, but also highlights divine protection and intervention. Daniel 9 outlines the purpose of these events: to bring about transformation, to fulfill prophecy, and to lead to a final period of restoration. Revelation 11 references structured time frames, indicating a predetermined sequence of events. As these final stages unfold, many believe that history will reach a dramatic turning point. As the conclusion of this period draws near, biblical texts suggest that a final confrontation will take place. This moment, often described as a great battle, will mark the culmination of these prophetic events. However, despite the conflict, the ultimate outcome is one of victory and renewal. The final moments of struggle will give way to a new chapter, one where peace and fulfillment replace turmoil and uncertainty. Many will continue to question the significance of these prophecies, but for those who believe, they serve as a reminder of a greater plan. The ultimate truth, according to these teachings, is that no force can stand against divine authority. In the end, faith and perseverance will lead to redemption. The question remains, will the world recognize the significance of these events before it is too late? The journey ahead may be challenging, but it leads to the most profound transformation of all. As time moves forward, those who reflect on these teachings emphasize the importance of awareness. The future is not just a matter of speculation. It is a path already set in motion. With every passing moment, history continues to unfold, leading toward a conclusion that many believe has been written long ago. While some interpret the imagery as a reminder of sacrifice, others see it as a sign of ultimate victory over the forces of darkness. Either way, the message is clear. Jesus is not returning as a passive observer. He comes as the divine warrior, bringing justice and righteousness once and for all. Behind him follows a vast assembly, a heavenly army prepared to stand by his side. During his time on earth, Jesus spoke of his access to legions of angels, yet he never called upon them because that was not the time for battle. Now, however, the moment has arrived. No longer will he hold back. He will bring forth the full power of heaven against all opposition. His weapon is not one of human design, but something far greater, a sword that proceeds from his mouth, symbolizing the absolute power of his word. This serves as a profound reminder that the spoken word of Jesus is enough to create, heal, and bring judgment. Just as the world was formed through divine speech, so too will his word bring an end to all that stands against righteousness. Additionally, he carries a rod of iron, signifying unbreakable authority. His reign will be marked by fairness and absolute justice, ensuring a world no longer plagued by corruption and injustice. Perhaps one of the most striking images in this prophetic vision is what follows: the depiction of two vastly different gatherings. On one hand, there is the joyous and celebrated feast, often called the wedding supper, where those who have remained faithful are welcomed into eternal joy. On the other hand, there is another gathering, but this one is far from joyous. Instead, it is described as a grim assembly, where the aftermath of battle is laid bare. The imagery of birds gathering, a scene often associated with fallen warriors in ancient battles, serves as a sobering reminder of the weight of these events. This moment is not just about judgment, it is about the fulfillment of long-awaited justice. This vision aligns with expectations held by many when Jesus first entered Jerusalem. As crowds shouted Hosanna and blessed his arrival, they anticipated the coming of a triumphant king who would bring immediate victory. They were not wrong in believing the Messiah would one day conquer. They simply misunderstood the timing. Before reigning in power, he first had to complete the work of redemption, offering salvation to all. Even after his resurrection, his followers asked when he would restore the kingdom. Rather than denying the future restoration, Jesus simply told them that the exact timing was known only to the Father. That moment would come, but in divine timing. The key question for us today is this: are we prepared for what is to come? The second coming of Jesus is not a distant myth or a symbolic tale. It is a fulfillment of prophecy, a reality that will one day unfold. When that moment arrives, there will be no more uncertainty, no more debates. The authority of the King of Kings will be established, and his justice will stand unchallenged. Now imagine a battlefield, a scene of overwhelming destruction. The ground is covered with fallen warriors, and above them, dark silhouettes move ominously. Birds, known for their keen ability to detect the aftermath of battle, circle the skies, awaiting the inevitable. Yet the most startling moment is yet to come. A powerful declaration, an angel calls out, summoning these creatures to witness what is described as a moment of final reckoning. This scene is not one of random destruction, but of the ultimate triumph of justice. Those who oppose the divine authority, who place their trust in worldly power rather than in the truth, now face the consequences of their choices. The deceptive leaders, who misled many, are not merely defeated, they are removed from power entirely, their influence coming to an abrupt and irreversible end. Unlike those who perished in battle, these deceivers are taken alive, facing a fate beyond physical defeat. Meanwhile, the once mighty rulers who followed them fall alongside their armies, their strength proving useless against divine authority. Jesus stands as the victorious king, his triumph marking the conclusion of the final struggle. This portrayal of Jesus may seem different from the image many are familiar with. The compassionate teacher, the healer, the one who entered Jerusalem on a humble donkey. Yet it is the same Jesus. The one who came in humility will return in glory. The moment when every knee will bow and every tongue will confess. His authority is not a symbolic vision. It is the promised conclusion of history. The victorious declaration rings through the heavens. Hallelujah! For the Lord God Almighty reigns. His rule will be absolute, bringing an end to all forms of deception and injustice. Even amid these overwhelming events, a faithful remnant continues to worship. Yet something is different. The expansion of the faithful has ceased. The moment for new converts has passed. The once open doors, where all were welcomed, now stand still. This marks a shift in history, one where humanity has reached a decisive turning point. However, even in this moment, divine mercy is not absent. Two powerful messengers are sent to deliver a final plea. These individuals, chosen for this mission, boldly proclaim the truth, despite facing immense opposition. The identities of these messengers remain debated. Are they figures from ancient history, returning for this moment? Are they representatives of long-standing teachings, now brought to life in a final call to repentance? Regardless of their background, one thing is certain. They are appointed for this time. Their message is accompanied by undeniable signs, leaving no room for doubt. Yet, despite witnessing the miraculous, many refuse to listen. Hatred grows, and these messengers become targets. Their eventual fate is not one of honor, but of ridicule, as their deaths are treated as a victory by those who oppose them. For days, their bodies remain, a public display for all to see. Those who rejected their message celebrate, believing they have silenced them forever. However, in a moment that defies all expectations, divine power is revealed once more. Before the eyes of their enemies, these two messengers are resurrected. The celebration turns to shock, and fear grips those who once mocked them. As they ascend, a great tremor shakes the earth, a final sign that the time of waiting is over. Many today look at global events and immediately connect them to prophecy, particularly when it comes to Jerusalem. While history has seen countless conflicts, those who study biblical teachings urge caution in making immediate conclusions. The history of this region has been marked by continual struggles, yet biblical texts describe a future period of unparalleled intensity. This time, often referred to as the time of Jacob's trouble or the Great Tribulation, is believed to be unlike anything seen before. A significant part of these prophetic writings speaks of a return, a gathering of people back to their land. The book of Ezekiel describes this as a moment of restoration, where a shepherd brings his scattered flock back home. The repetition of divine assurances, "I will gather them, I will bring them out, I will restore them," emphasizes the faithfulness of this promise. Another key discussion in biblical prophecy involves the rebuilding of a sacred structure. Some interpretations suggest that future events will center around this development. Passages from Revelation and Thessalonians indicate that such a structure will hold significance in unfolding events. In connection with this, a leader is foretold to rise, one who will seek to establish dominance, positioning himself in opposition to divine authority. This individual is described as one who deceives many, drawing followers through false promises before revealing a much darker purpose. According to these teachings, this period will follow a significant event, often described as the removal of the faithful. What follows is a time of great upheaval, where many face challenges unlike any seen before. However, despite the difficulties, the conclusion is certain: justice will prevail. The promise of divine triumph remains unshaken, and the final chapter leads not to destruction, but to restoration. In the end, the message is clear. Despite all opposition, despite all resistance, the rightful king will reign. History follows a divine course, leading to a moment when all will recognize the truth. The warnings have been given, the signs continue to unfold, and the question remains: who will be ready when the moment arrives? As discussions deepen, new questions arise regarding the significance of sacred locations. One long-held belief concerns the Eastern Gate in Jerusalem. Traditionally thought to have been a central access point, historical records indicate that it has remained mostly sealed throughout history. This realization has led many to reevaluate its significance, particularly in relation to biblical prophecy. Beyond the gate, attention turns to the larger question of location. Where exactly was the sacred temple situated? Some theories suggest that its placement may align with key historical references, prompting further exploration. However, reconciling historical findings with scriptural accounts remains a challenge. The search for answers continues, reflecting humanity's enduring desire to uncover truth and understand the past in light of the future. As the discussion deepens, one of the most fascinating and highly debated topics in biblical prophecy is the future of Jerusalem and the unfolding events that many believe are set to take place there. While history has long regarded the city as a focal point of faith, conflict, and divine promises, recent developments have reignited speculation about its role in the fulfillment of prophecy. Many scholars and believers point to the significance of the Third Temple, viewing it as an essential piece in the prophetic puzzle. Throughout the ages, the destruction and rebuilding of sacred sites have marked pivotal moments in the timeline of biblical history. The first temple, built by King Solomon, was a magnificent structure where divine presence was believed to dwell. However, it was destroyed by the Babylonians in 586 BC, an event that led to the exile of the Israelites. The Second Temple was later constructed under the leadership of Zerubbabel and expanded by King Herod, standing as a central place of worship for centuries. Yet, in 70 AD, the Romans laid siege to Jerusalem, leading to its destruction, just as Jesus had prophesied decades earlier. For nearly 2,000 years, the temple has remained absent, yet biblical prophecy suggests that it must rise again. This belief stems from various scriptures, particularly those in Daniel, Ezekiel, and Revelation, which speak of a temple being present in the final days. One of the most compelling arguments comes from 2 Thessalonians 2, 3-4, which describes a future event where a leader will enter the temple and declare himself above all that is worshipped, demanding absolute allegiance. This act, often referred to as the abomination of desolation, is seen as a turning point in prophetic fulfillment. Despite the firm conviction of many scholars and religious leaders that the Third Temple will be built, significant obstacles remain. The most notable is the current presence of the Dome of the Rock on the Temple Mount, a site of great religious significance. This has led to ongoing debates about whether the temple must be built at its exact historical location or whether an alternative site may be considered. Some researchers propose that the temple's original foundation may have been closer to the city of David, rather than where the dome stands today. If true, this would radically change perceptions of where the prophesied temple could be reconstructed. Beyond the physical barriers, there are also spiritual and political challenges. Many wonder if global events are aligning to create the conditions necessary for this prophecy to unfold. With growing tensions in the region, shifting alliances, and an increasing focus on religious and historical claims to Jerusalem, the stage appears to be set for a major transformation. But what will it take for the construction of the Third Temple to commence? And if this temple is indeed the one referenced in biblical prophecy, what implications does that hold for the world? While many view the rebuilding of the temple as a moment of divine fulfillment, others fear that it could signal the beginning of great trials. Biblical texts warn that once the temple stands, events will accelerate toward a time of great testing. Daniel's prophecy outlines a period in which sacrifices will resume, only to be abruptly halted by a leader who will bring turmoil rather than peace. This leader, often identified with the figure known as the Antichrist, is said to rise under the guise of unity, but will ultimately deceive many. This brings us to another critical element of end-time prophecy, the concept of deception on a global scale. Throughout history, humanity has witnessed the rise of influential figures who have sought to reshape the world through political, ideological, and even religious means. However, biblical texts describe a future deception unlike any other, one that will captivate nations and lead many away from the truth. This deception is not merely about power or control. It is about redefining morality, truth, and faith itself. Revelation 13 provides a striking depiction of this period, describing a leader who will wield immense influence and will be supported by another figure known as the false prophet. This second figure will perform great signs, even making fire fall from the sky in the sight of the people. His role will be to direct the world's allegiance toward the first leader, convincing many that he is worthy of worship. This passage has led to endless discussions regarding the nature of these figures and how their influence will manifest in the modern world. One of the most intriguing aspects of this prophecy is its reference to a system that will govern trade and economic activity. The infamous passage in Revelation 13:16-17 states that no one will be able to buy or sell unless they bear a specific mark, a sign of allegiance to this new order. Theories surrounding this passage have varied widely, with some suggesting a literal mark, while others propose a technological or ideological system that controls participation in society. Regardless of interpretation, the central theme remains the same: an unprecedented level of control over human affairs. As history unfolds, the rapid advancement of technology has led many to wonder if such a system is now within reach. With digital identification, cashless transactions, and increasing surveillance capabilities, it is not difficult to envision a world where commerce and daily life are regulated on a global scale. While some argue that such measures could be implemented for security and economic stability, others caution that they could pave the way for centralized control, making it easier for a single authority to dictate terms of participation. Yet, despite these concerns, biblical prophecy does not end in despair. While the trials of the final days are emphasized, they are always accompanied by the promise of ultimate redemption. One of the most profound messages found throughout Scripture is that no matter how dark the times become, divine intervention will bring restoration. The book of Revelation does not merely warn of trials. It speaks of a future where justice prevails, where suffering ends, and where peace is established under the reign of the true King. Jesus himself provided reassurance in John 16:33, stating, "In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world." This verse serves as a reminder that while challenges may arise, the final outcome is already determined. The message of hope woven throughout biblical prophecy is one of victory, not defeat. The culmination of history leads not to chaos, but to a renewed creation, where the divisions and sorrows of the present world will be replaced by an everlasting kingdom. As we reflect on these unfolding events, the question remains, where do we stand in all of this? While scholars, theologians, and researchers continue to examine prophecy, each individual is called to seek wisdom and discernment. The signs described in Scripture serve not as tools for fear, but as calls to awareness. They remind us that history is moving toward a purposeful conclusion, and that every moment brings us closer to the fulfillment of promises made long ago. In the end, the central message remains clear. A time of great change is coming, but those who remain steadfast in faith will see the dawn of a new era. The unfolding events are not random. They are part of a divine timeline, leading to the ultimate restoration of all things. The final victory does not belong to darkness, deception, or worldly power. It belongs to the one who reigns above all. As we continue this exploration, the next question emerges. What role does Israel play in the final days? How do the prophecies concerning the nation align with modern developments? And what can we learn from history as we look toward the future? These questions will guide our next steps as we uncover more of the mysteries hidden within the pages of prophecy.